We love thinking about new habits to start as a fresh new year approaches, but what about the collection of bad habits we need to break? Making an effort to avoid a harmful behavior can be way more important than adding new routines to the party. Okay, so first of all, we overcomplicate lists really fast. We have a habit out of thinking that to-do lists are basically repositories of information where we throw everything in there that we may think of. And we don't care about prioritization, timeframes, or anything of the sort, and that's really wrong. Okay, so to-do lists are different from brain dumps. A brain dump is a place where we write down what we want to do and what we need to do, regardless of time frame, priority, or urgency. Overall, there are no rules in brain dumps, and that's why they're useless at helping organize our daily routine. Brain dumps are more like exercises of brainstorming that allow us to take our minds off of things, while to-do lists are structured plans to help organize our day. Both are important, but we can't think of brain dumps as to-do lists. Okay, so a good to-do list should, it should include actionable tasks, it should include a time frame, and it should have prioritization in mind. There are so many different ways for you to build a solid to-do list, but I really recommend the ABCD system for beginners. So in the ABCD system, A tasks are the most relevant as they are important to your own personal goals, and there are bad consequences in case you aren't able to tackle the task in time. B tasks have the same consequences, but they're not that important to your personal goals. C tasks don't have bad consequences at all, but as there's something you can't delegate, you still need to fit them in your personal schedule. Okay, so using a system like this really helps you understand what matters the most to you. It also helps you understand what are the consequences of your actions. And lastly, it really forces you to learn how to delegate, which is really important for you to prevent burnout. Okay, so I like budgets. If you've been here for a while, you already know that. Having a budget is like a friendly, non-fuss way of ensuring you're keeping track of your financial goals. And you're also doing like a steady surveillance of the money that's coming in and out of your bank, and it's basically a great way for you to understand whether you're making some basic financial mistakes. So make it a habit. In the beginning, tracking your expenses and evaluating your spending on a regular basis will feel incredibly overwhelming and intimidating. And it's also one more chore you have to add to an already packed schedule. But it's such a rewarding thing to do. Sometimes you may be getting double charged for something. You may be paying old subscriptions you're not using anymore, or spending way too much on eating out than you ever thought you were. So this mindful analysis of your accounts and a regular bookkeeping routine is essential for your financial health and a good relationship with money. Okay, so spoiler alert. The ideal time does not exist, or at least it almost never does. Okay, so I think this is going to be probably the most controversial topic in this video, but in my experience, as well as the experience of people that I like to, I look up to and I like to learn from them, people usually make a habit out of, waiting for a very specific time in their lives to do something. So this can be either a major life decision or even starting a small habit. Most of the times that we postpone these decisions, it's because of, fear, imposter syndrome, or just plain low self-esteem. Okay, so sometimes we start too late, but then sometimes we never do anything at all. Life is very dynamic and it's basically impossible for us to meet all of our self-imposed conditions. It's impossible for us to tick all the items in our list before we do something. And after all, even if you do meet all the conditions, then something may still happen and you've been waiting so long for nothing. I know a lot of people, and I meet a lot of people that wait until the new year to start a new habit. But the thing here is why? There's absolutely nothing in the new year that separates it from all the other days of the year. So you don't have to wait for that particular night to start something. You can have a fresh start whenever you like. Of course, that, like as any other topics in this video, this isn't applicable to all situations. For instance, there may be a more reasonable time for you to switch jobs or get married or make a big life decision. But once again, there's a difference between reasonable and ideal. And that's what you have to take into account. Okay, I know you've probably heard this millions of times before, but here it goes again. Electronics do affect your sleep. Devices interfere with your sleep by suppressing the production of melatonin. Instead of winding down, you feel alert, and that's because your devices emit blue light, which tells your brain it's time to be awake instead of telling your brain it's time to go to sleep. Also, usually when we're using devices, we are consuming content, right? So we are watching videos or a series or reading something that excites us. And this keeps us psychologically engaged and really prevents us from fully unwinding down and relaxing before we go to sleep. Finally, scrolling, reading, and reacting to whatever you're doing on your phone triggers an emotional reaction in your brain, reducing REM sleep and overall completely messing with a healthy sleep cycle and therefore reducing your sleep quality. Okay, so here's the thing. New Year's resolutions never work, right? And that's only because we, and I'm including myself, we make way too many of them. So the ridiculous amount of resolutions we set for ourselves has a lot to do with our insecurities and our fear of missing out. We just want to be perfect this particular year. So we have to start incorporating all the new habits, we need to start working out, cut back on sugar, and learn 2 languages at the same time. Okay, so this is a really toxic mindset, and I also struggle with it basically every single year, and I fail at it too, but I'm trying my best to not be as ambitious as I was before. This has a lot to do with my fear of missing out, and it basically has caused some burnout in my life several times. Okay, so my challenge for myself this year, and I invite you to do the same, is to have one resolution only. The thing is, this is almost a scary thought for me. I'm so goal-driven that just thinking about focusing on one thing only for the rest of the year just scares the hell out of me. But this is what I want to do this year, and by the end of the year, maybe I'll be able to keep a solid New Year's resolutions instead of like superficially implementing like 3 out of 20. And if being more efficient, healthy, and productive while you're using your electronic devices is one of your resolutions or your resolution only, then I highly recommend you check Rise. Rise is the only time tracker that can actually help you improve your productivity. It's so simple to use. It's just a desktop app that automatically tracks and categorizes the time you spend on certain websites and apps. It provides analytics and insights so you can understand where your time goes. And this allows you to optimize breaks, optimize meetings, build better work habits, and improve your ability to focus. You can actually create customizable tracking categories and tracking rules for your apps and websites, and you can categorize your time in a way that makes the most sense for you. There are also smart break notifications that allow you to know when to take breaks based on your activity and when you've worked a certain amount for the day. You also have an in-depth analysis of how you spend your time between focus time, meetings, and your breaks. So to access a special discount for my viewers and subscribers only, go check the link in the description box below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys!